Hey there, handsome. Come on down. Oh, whatever. So dramatic. Hey, Dorian Gray. Excuse me, Dorian Gregory, can you come out? I was so distracted. You're lying over here. Oh, and you got the camera on you, too. I love it, Dorian. All right, there we go. Oh, and thank you so much, Drew. I appreciate that. And finally, the beautiful Jennifer Rhodes. I love it. You good over there, Drew?
Yeah.
Everyone comfy, get cozy.
I don't trust you behind me.
I know.
I need you to be where I can see you.
I love the relationship y'all have.
No, that's not a good scene.
Well, guys, we've got limited amount of time. We need to get this seating down. We got some questions to get to with
Where I
y'all.
can see you.
I know. Settle. Well, I gotta say, it is so lovely to see this cast together on this stage. Of course, this isn't the first time you hit the stage this weekend here at 90's Con, but does it ever blow your mind that 26 years later, you're still talking about this show? Oh,
We're kind of used to it now.
yeah.
It's going to be weird if it ever does go away.
I have a feeling y'all aren't going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? You have firmly cemented yourself in the pop culture history, that is for sure. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the event that happened yesterday to honor your friend, your co-star, the late Shannon Doherty. You had a beautiful opportunity to share that time with your fans, with your friends out here. What was that opportunity like, having the opportunity to celebrate her with everyone here at 90's Con? Brian, maybe I'll let you take the lead on that.
I just mentioned it, goosebumps. Yesterday was beautiful, and I want to thank everybody that came. You guys filled our hearts up. Joy, everyone that came from Australia, the vigil, anybody that came last night. I think it was such a fitting tribute, and I think it all helps us move forward and to share that not just together, but with you all. My hair's standing up again. I want to thank you all. It's just filled with love. It's amazing.
I can only imagine. I'm so sorry for your loss. You guys were so close for so long, and you had the opportunity to have Shannon on your podcast before her untimely passing. And if any of you are willing to, is there a favorite story of hers from time on set that just always comes to mind when you think of that beautiful soul?
I mean, yeah, but we did this, to be honest, I think it's really hard to keep it together and talk publicly. We will continue to do so, but I think it's enough at this point.
Okay. And I
Just for a little bit. It's amazing and incredible to share that love in that moment, but it's not a casual question for us, I'm sorry.
I understand.
It's a lot, and she is the most amazing human and the most beautiful soul, but
It's personal. Yeah, I
Thank
understand
you.
that.
Thank you.
Go
Dorian?
ahead, Dee, go ahead.
Yeah.
But Dorian's good at this. Dorian can
Yeah.
do this.
I find out something new about everybody on this stage after 25 years plus. And that's crazy to me, in a beautiful way. Holly shared something as far as Shannon and them putting the podcast and Shannon joining the podcast. And she watched it 3 times over. And she took time to really reconnect and share something interesting and share something that we're not all aware of. And that professionalism for somebody who's been doing this since she was a baby, not just professionalism, that's so trite. Her passion and her really wanting to share something insightful, impactful, and something that we may not have been cognizant or aware of, give us a better understanding, is a new discovery about the depth of how somebody is built and how they're constructed. I get a chance, almost being repetitive, to find out something new about everybody that I have known for such a long time continually. And Shannon, specifically, because she holds such a special place for me, to find out the real, continue to find out things about her that I never knew, and the depth of that is what really sits with me and never goes away, aside from just her light. And so that's about it. But I love that about this journey, and I love that about us being here and being able to share these things with you, things, little details that you never would know. And that's it.
Maureen, thank you for sharing. You know, today as we go into the conversation about, reliving 8 seasons of this extraordinary show, we do want to learn something new about aspects of the show. So let's get to it, shall we? Let's go back to Holly meeting your TV sisters for the first time and being introduced to your powers and how you were going to use those powers for good. What do you remember from those first days?
Well, I knew Shannon before the show, so we met when I was 19. And we had actually gone to network with another person to be Phoebe, and the network didn't like her. They didn't like me either.
Get out.
Yeah, so they wanted to keep Shannon and recast the other two. And Shannon and Aaron said, we're not going to do the show without Holly. Forget the other girl.
Holly is chef.
She was like the sacrificial lamb. They were like, okay, you can get rid of her, but we're going to keep this one. It was a negotiation. And then...
Wow, I cannot imagine anyone else being... Like,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, and actually, I was supposed to be auditioning for Phoebe, which would have never worked.
What?
It's so weird.
And then Shannon was supposed to be Piper.
If you were
Yeah.
Phoebe, that would just...
That would be so
It
wrong.
would not... It would be...
Trying to imagine you in a mermaid outfit. Pasties.
What?
So Shannon and I had to convince Aaron that we were old enough to play the older characters. He actually asked for our IDs. Slid them across the desk. We're like, well, he saw her as, a little
Right.
girl still. And, yeah, it would have been weird.
Is there it definitely would have been weird because all was right in the world when the three of you were sisters, and then we get our fourth Hallowell sister. So I'm curious how the role came to each of you, if there's a new nuggets or Easter egg you could provide us with. Ryan, what
Were you supposed to be Andy?
Yeah.
They described this as a Danny Glover, Mel Gibson type thing, dynamic. And I came in and did that from the descriptive that went out, and something I've shared before. Aaron is like, we want you to do a little something different. I see something about you, and I see a connectedness that should be imbued in this partnership, as far as really a human being having history. And that's an obvious note. I've said this before. But this thing, from my understanding, they were looking for an extended period of time, and so oftentimes we don't hear about it, even though it's been out there forever. And it stumbled across. I was last in the run. It was the Gladiator Pit, and Aaron gave me that note, which made it so I didn't do the Danny Glover descriptive that they were looking for. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not what they were looking for the show. And so there it is, and here we are.
No offense, Danny Glover.
And you do a
Not at
really,
all.
and you did a great Aaron Spelling, who is a super, massively famous, powerful producer in Hollywood for many, many years before he created this show. And this show was definitely unlike any kind of spelling show that had ever been before or after. And you did his voice perfectly.
Appreciate that.
Mimic.
Yeah, again, it's just coming into something with these iconic people, and when I state that, people that I've known for so long indirectly, just as you guys have known us so long indirectly, and being actually in with them and seeing them as human beings, and that human being nature as far as the truth of who they are, which is what I think really made the show what it is. And that's what everybody bonded with, was such a unique experience for me. I was a big fan of Shannon. I was a big fan of everybody, you know, Holly. I was a big fan of everybody.
You
Brian.
don't have to say that just because I'm sitting here.
I'm actually not, because I wouldn't.
He didn't say everyone's name.
But for me, it's such a joy to actually meet people in person and get the same energy as you see off screen that you cherish, and them being symbiotic with that and being the truth of who they are.
For sure.
So that's that.
Drew, I'm curious. What about your experience?
I'm curious too.
How did you get here? And why?
I had been on a few other, at the time it was the WB, not the CW.
Yeah.
And at the time, like, there was an old school mentality in regards to they like an actor or an actress and they want to find a home and a spot for them.
Right.
And I was lucky enough and blessed enough to be in that stable. I had done a spelling pilot that didn't go anywhere. And he was devastated about that, and he came to me, and Duke came to me. And he's like, I'm gonna find something else for you. And then I ended up being moved to a different WB show. It was a karate show.
Black Sash.
Kids were,
Black
yeah,
Sash.
Black Sash. Kids after school doing like 21 Jump Street, karate, finding.
That wasn't meant to be your home either.
Oh no, well the show got canceled after 8
Did your
hours.
karate suck that bad?
It wasn't great. It threw me
Your
right.
after school karate?
After school karate. They're like, kids, you're in trouble. Let's go find solace in the dojo. And then they came to me like, all right, we got the show for you.
Welcome to Hollywood's thought process.
We got the show for you. It's Charmed. And I'm like, hell yeah, what's going on? And so they said, we've written a role for you. We don't fully know where it's going to go yet.
Don't tell the people you were supposed to be her love
I
interest. No, you're not.
Listen, girlfriend.
You're still not.
She's in denial
That's
because I ultimately became
incestuous.
her son.
It's your
but-
aunt.
Yeah.
You're disgusting.
Not wrong.
Made this all up in his
Yeah,
head.
right. It's just a figment of my imagination. I'm just storybooking up here. But yeah, so originally there was talk.
Storybooking?
Yeah, like
That's
you
not
like
a
write
thing.
it. You like write your own narrative.
Okay.
Storybooking.
Is that a thing?
One who storybooks.
No, it's never going to be a thing.
He just wanted to be your love interest really
You
badly.
wouldn't.
Rose, how did it come about for you?
Wait, I didn't finish my story.
Yeah, you did.
What happened to the end there, Drew?
How boring.
Not boring, but I want everybody to get the chance to share their story. For me, I was in Romania doing a movie, and I got a phone call. Nobody that knows me, or everyone that knows me knows I hate phone calls, like even before cell phones. I hated phone calls. And so the phone rang in my hotel room, and I'm like, oh, how dare. So I answer it, and it says, hi, I'm Aaron Spelling. And I was like, that's a weird click. What a weird prank call in Romania. The phone rings again, and I'm like, he's like, no, it's really me, Aaron Spelling. And I'm like, okay. And then, come and meet me in LA. And I was just finishing this project there in Romania. And Transylvania was next door, and that was super cool, by the way. If you ever get a chance to go to Transylvania, highly recommend. So then I'm on the plane on the way home, and I've said this before, but I asked, I was like, okay, universe, I don't know this show, give me a sign if I'm meant to do the show. And the weirdest part is that never before, and I've been on a lot of planes, and never since have I ever seen Charmed on any airplane, let alone the pilot episode. So I'm on like Romania Air or whatever, and the only in-flight entertainment on this flight back to the US was the pilot episode of Charmed. If that's not a sign right there, that is a sign, right? 100%. Wow. Never before and never since have I seen this.
That's probably a CBS thing too.
I don't know.
spelling
And
thing.
I've been to Romania since then, and it was not on the plane again. That is some
Spelling
story.
is that powerful, where he called Romanian and said,
Actually,
the only thing I
actually,
want on
he
that
is that
plane
one, that powerful.
is Charmed.
that might be what happened because I don't understand it. So it looked also very tonally different.
Yes.
So the show I said yes to did in fact was a different, dark.
Correct.
It was different. It was moodier. It was really, and I was like, this is cool looking, and the acting was very strong. And I got back and I went to his office on Wilshire Boulevard, and I said it was like a football field. It was a giant office with white shag rug that went up to like my ankles. And there's this little tiny Hobbit keychain man, like you could put him on a keychain. And like this, behind this giant desk, and a butler in tails, and a crystal platter, whatever you call it, tray, with a goblet, a crystal goblet with a blue drink inside and a straw that was bent, and he's like this to Aaron, and Aaron's like, and I'm like, hello. And I walk across the football, I'm like, my feet are disappearing in this giant carpet, and I'm hoping I'm not making any little dirt tracks. And he's like, would you like to join, you know, and then I remember getting a call from my agent afterwards. They want to know if you were intimidated by Aaron. I was like, truly, I thought I should put him on my keychain. I was not intimidated, but anyway, that's how Paige came to be. That is quite the story.
You let her finish that story?
It was interesting.
Comic timing is a thing. Storybook it.
Jennifer, you played the beloved matriarch, the grandmother of this family. It is. You just have to speak right your mind. Yeah. How did you land the part?
I had to audition. I had done one other spelling show about nurses, but it was very short-lived because they made the nurses sexy, and nurses didn't like that, so they canceled the series. However, they had an open call, open auditions for this part of a witch. And so when I went to the audition, there were all these actresses, they're all dressed in black. And when I went into the audition, the scene was comforting my granddaughter. And so I was very, trying to be very sweet because she just lost the love of her life. And, I was trying to be very sweet and say, oh, darling, it's okay. And then they said, no, do it again. But, just throw it away. Don't comfort her. And I said, oh, please, get over yourself. It's just a day, and you can always find another man. And so I got the part. It was originally for 2 episodes, 2-part job. And then, anyway, I wound up doing about 2 a year for 8 years, so I was very lucky.
They were lucky to have you.
And then, all these years it's still going, and I'm just amazed. And people call me Grams. Everywhere I go, they, hi Grams, and I thought, I don't know if they say that because they don't know my name. But I always say, okay, that's okay, I don't mind as long as you don't call me Grandma.
Grams it is, Grams it is, Jennifer.
So, it is my pleasure to have been a part of this wonderful show and working with everyone, and it's been one of the highlights of my life.
That's beautiful. Now, Brian, thank you so much, Jennifer. Now, Brian, is it true that you auditioned to be Prue's love interest and not Piper's?
Well, I think I was auditioning for the Mel Gibson side of that.
For Andy. Yeah, could you imagine Brian as Andy?
With that mustache, 100%.
Oh, maybe.
Airbag
Maybe.
BK.
Yeah, I didn't quite rank.
So how were roles reversed in a sense, and how'd you end
I
up
don't know,
as-
I mean, I had auditioned for spelling a million times before this, been in the room, kind of thing, never.
White shag rug.
And then the shag rug, and
couch.
it's,
Don't forget the
he's got a
couch.
couch that fits 20 people, and you sit out there alone. It's really intimidating.
Sounds like it.
I mean, for a young actor,
Yeah.
it can be very you know, there's
And it's
everybody.
Aaron Spelling, I mean.
Yeah, you're up on stage alone. But you know, I was doing construction and I had a new baby at home and I had all this stuff and you know, and I just wasn't breaking through and I got the audition, I came in, I did it. They're like, can you come back in the afternoon at like 2 o'clock? I'm like, I gotta make $100 today, my wife's gonna kill me, I need to go back to the job site, like, all right, I'll go, right? Come back at 2, hey, come back at 6. I'm like, I can't even do a half day. I'm like, all right, and I go in and I do it for Leo, and it's, you know, it's a soft, lovey kind of scene, you know, just nice chemistry, possible love interest type of thing. And so I do it, and so now I had met Aaron a million times, and so in my strategy, I'm gonna walk in and be like, Mr. Spelling, it's good to see you again. And he'll be like, oh, hey, Brian, it's great to see you. And so that I walk in, hello, Mr. Spelling, it's great to see you again. And he looks down at my picture and he goes, hello, Brian, it's nice to meet you.
That's a punch to the gut right
And I'm
there.
just like, you know, Hollywood, word, thing, kid. I'm like, fuck this shit. Fuck Hollywood, fuck it all. He's like, are you ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. No questions, like, no, let's go. Now I'm reading like this, yeah, like, and I just became, I don't care, I hate this, and I just like, kind of like an angry read. I finished, I looked up, I'm like, anything else? And they're like, no, I go, okay, thank you very much, and I walked out. And
for you.
just pissed, and I wasn't even halfway home, and I got paged, and they're like, you got it, and I'm like,
And that's how it happened.
It also means that on some level, like you were always supposed to be that.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you did, no matter what, like how angry or upset you were, and like I've never seen Leo angry or upset.
I know.
Like the role was meant for you. And I think a lot of
Yes.
times in this industry, it's not every time, but there's a lot of times when a role finds you. Like I can't imagine anyone playing Paige other than you. Like that was always your role. Piper was. There was no Piper if it wasn't for AMC.
But I think that's also why this show is so wildly successful, is because the casting was so spot on. And I'm curious at what point, Brian and Holly, did you realize these two, Piper and Leo, this was a couple that audiences were like just falling in love with. They were obsessed with you.
I don't know. I mean, we had such a long, hard road. Like a long, hard
You
road.
did.
Yeah, I guess you were just destined to be stuck with me.
And thank goodness.
But no, because Piper was so unlucky in love, I'm sure that's what they like to call it. We went through so many guys that I was like, she's a little bit of a hoe. And I actually had to have the conversation with them. Like, can we settle her down a bit? It's a lot. It's like, hi, nice to meet you. Want to make out? Let's go. It's like,
And I loved you no
Sounds
matter
like a
what.
dream job.
and you still loved me.
That's right. I forgive you.
Despite my checkered past. How dare you?
I believe now they would call that the body count. Something like that.
I'm curious, Rose, because you were brought in as the fourth Hallowell sister. So what was it like stepping onto the scene in a show that was already
Super fun. Not awkward at all.
I mean, a show that's so established, they have a solid fan base. Were there any reservations?
I was a bit of an airhead and didn't think too deeply about it. I didn't know about, I really didn't, they kind of kept all this stuff from me. I didn't find out actually even like some deeper stuff until like this last year. Like there's stuff like nobody said anything. Like I would just get the question, is it weird? And I'm that kind of person that like gets, I've jumped out of a plane, I'm terrified of heights, but not until I'm on the plane and all the way up, I'm like, well, this was not a great idea. And I don't think too deep. I'm like, yeah, sounds awesome. And then I'm like, what did I do? And that's kind of how I've approached my life. Can't advise that, but it was very much in keeping with how Paige was, which was not understanding magic. I didn't understand the magic of the show. I came to understand it, like Paige came to understand magic. I didn't understand the power of the show or the interaction with fans. Paige didn't either. Like, we came to understand that. So the growth was I mean, had I sat and really thought about it, I mean, I couldn't. There were so many dimensions and strange things happening behind the scenes that I didn't know about. I could not have imagined them, so I didn't know. I'd also never been really on a TV set like in that way. I didn't know how that whole world functioned. It's extremely different than film. And I think, you know, going back to your earlier question, which wasn't to me, but it was, you know, the how Charmed has lasted all this time because of the casting and because of the specialness of that. But I very much also have to say that I have to give the reason that it's lasted is also very much the generations of fans and our Charmed family out there, which is huge. And that they also had to go through a death. They also had to have someone they loved, and that they also had to go through coming to accept someone new. So we all kind of awkwarded it, that's a new word, together.
Wait, that's okay, but story.
Because it's fucking cool and
Deal
not
with on a
a
daily basis.
no, because it's not a douche corporation, okay? Awkward. You said Google.
The term.
Right.
Next question, please.
Oh my gosh, you guys also like just kind of going through the seasons. Y'all have so many folks that would pop up as guest stars or come in for a season. I mean, the list I accumulated here: Julian McMahon, John Hamm, Amy Adams,
John Hamm was on the show?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, Eric Dane, Michael Weatherly, Kaylee Cuoco, Jason Lewis. Any like interesting stories or memories pop to mind from some of those folks being on the show? Oh, there's a story there, Brian. Spill the tea.
I know it.
Trim it. With a laugh like that, there's a story there.
What did John Hamm do? He was in Mad Men and also John Hamm. What did he do on the show?
I don't remember. I may not have. I didn't usually work with too many of the guest stars myself.
Come on, Holly.
Who was what?
Kyle's father.
Who's Kyle?
Who's Kyle?
Boyfriend?
Yes. Adrian Brody.
John Hamm was Kyle's father?
Flashback.
Like the future or the past?
Flashback.
Talking dead ghost?
Was I involved in this show?
What season is this?
In Fayetteville?
7.
No, not 6.
7.
You went back in time. You were dead, Chris.
And John Hamm?
I do want to finish because we have about a minute before we need to finish up the panel.
That was Annie, wasn't
I'm
it?
done.
I want to know,
Thanks.
in a final thought, what are you hoping the legacy of the show will be? Just wanted to take that on.
Let me say something from my perspective. I came along, and the show came along in the
You were
90s.
my favorite guest star, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm not saying that just because you're sitting here either.
In the 90s, I made a choice to do this show. I had a sitcom and this show. And I knew this show was guaranteed to go international. I knew Aaron, and I was confident in people that I was surrounded by, that as a person of color, I got to present myself as I wanted to, internationally. And I think this show accomplished that. And I enjoyed that.
Sorry.
I'm like, look at his brain. Let him talk. Wait, I'm like, look at his brain. Let his brain go. Let his soul and brain go. Stop touching him. Let his soul and brain go.
So I'll
This is what I
reiterate
like
this
about
point.
Charmed, is we had man candy.
The inspector was Andy's superior, and on this show, there was nothing about hierarchy of anything. Everybody was equal. Demons were equal, angels were equal, and in the 90s, things were different. Before the 90s, things were different. And to be a part of this show for 7 years, being who I wanted to represent as a person of color on this spelling show and this magnificent cast, was something that was critically important to me. They were shoveling in money for me as far as this comedy that I had. And spelling was a different thing. It was good, but it was different. But the choice I made is because what I knew the impact that it would have. And this is where we are now. Everybody is seen for who they are, and I love that. I love that opportunity of sharing that worldwide.
Well, Dorian Gregory, thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for sharing the time and memories and
Thank you guys. Honestly,
you all.
thank you all so very much.
All right, you guys, at this time, I'd like to ask all of you to remain seated, please. Remain seated for 1 second. If the cast wouldn't mind coming down to this line and joining me, we'll take a group photo, and then we'll have our fabulous moderator join us for the next shot. You're gonna face that way. The gentleman who's waving at you on the stool, he's gonna take the photo. Everyone. The man on the stool out there waving at you. Go ahead, take the photo. Here we go. One more. Okay, great. And let's have Rachel join you. There we go. One more time to the gentleman out there. Fantastic. And if you all would do me a favor, turn around, face me. I'm going to get back here, and we're going to get a shot of you and everyone out there on their feet.